one of the recommendations affects the board agenda. What comes to the board, materials, decisions that are put in front of the board, and there's a gently stated but pretty strong theme in there that too much board time is spent in reviewing report outs, and that it sucks up time, energy, and doesn't take the board to the strategic questions that they should be focusing on. Eric, is your board spending too much time in report outs? Have you tried to clean that up? Is it possible, given the expectations for board review?
I think in all of this discussion, we're also describing the critical role of the president or chancellor in making sure that there is effective governance. And I've seen lots and lots of cases where what's provided to a board is good news, the next good news, the next exciting things, and everything is fine, and a little bit hands off and too hands off to the opposite side, where not only are you flooding them with a lot of information, but you're asking them their views on details. And so I do think we take on this incredibly important role of making sure that the information that we're presenting is strategic in how it is that we're going to address particular problems, and celebrates the good, but is also very honest about the things at which we're not doing well at. Otherwise, I think it's even hard for people that are there for only a portion of the time to take the appropriate elevation view of the university, and to take the appropriate goal setting, and now I'm going to check back to see that you have done it. And my impression is that we're seeing a lot of movement back and forth, and we haven't, in a lot of boards, hit the sweet spot here, because you have a problem and people switch from being very hands-off to too hands-on.
Right.
And you're very hands-on, and you end up with big differences, and people switch to the point, wait a minute, we're getting carried away here. So I think part of finding that sweet spot demands that the CEOs are taking responsibility for helping to set that agenda and making sure that those key problems at the appropriate level are what you're presenting to your boards.
And that requires different talent and different framing of agendas for boards. Jim?
2 points. I think that a lot, there unfortunately, as fiduciaries, there is some dealing with the mundane. There are budgets that have to be approved, but they don't have to be discussed at the board level. They can be discussed at the committee level, and the board members, as someone said, have to trust each other. If you want to get involved in the budget, sit on the finance committee. And when that recommendation comes to the board, you're going to rubber stamp it, because that's not what we're going to spend our time on, unless that has big strategic implications. And that agenda, at least the way we do it, is set by the chair and the president. And Britt, you're absolutely right. There is no substitute for a close working relationship between the two. But what we've done, we self-appraise every board meeting. And the last question is always, so what subjects do you want to talk about to fellow trustees? And again, taking that information and overlaying it into the strategic issues, and you really can frame the board time at a very strategic level and leave the mundane to the committees.